Morning, Scruffites. 7:10, 12th of August, and let's have a look, see what the world has on store for us today. So grab your coffee, because I've got mine, and we'll begin. Well, the economic calendar isn't showing a mass amount this morning. There's a couple of news events going on now. So for the pound, so we'll kind of keep an eye on what's going on, but don't trade till after 9 o'clock mostly anyway. So those events will have been done and dusted by then. But what I will pay attention to later on this afternoon at 1:30 are the inflation rates for the dollar. Okay, so just be mindful at around 1:30 today. Okay. And flick that over, and what we're looking at is the strength from yesterday. Now, what you've got to remember is, if you haven't seen these sort of things before, this block here is quite important. It tells you the strength and the shakers and the movers. Now, there's no real movements to the upside anywhere, and that's because the dollar might be the strongest, but it's not actually pushing up into new territory. In fact, everything is kind of slowing down. So you've got the New Zealand dollar at the bottom end and the US. So they're going like this, all of them. All right. So you've got to be a bit mindful of that. And if you look at the way I work things out, for all it was saying that the New Zealand dollar is the weakest, the actual change of strength over the last couple of days is here. You know, it's moving up the scale, so it's not quite as bad as it looks. Okay, and it's when markets are like this and there's no real tip in the balance of power, and what I mean is there isn't one massively strong and one massively weak. Markets kind of go like this. They range about a bit, so they become very difficult to read, and you've got to rely on your levels. But what it does thin the herd down a little bit. So once I've done all my figures, which you kind of see me do on a regular basis, the markets I'm interested in looking at today are the New Zealand dollar, pound Aussie, Aussie dollar, US JPY, and the pound versus the JPY. So that's my starting grid, and I'm going to have a little look through each of these. And now we were looking at the New Zealand dollar, and we're just talking about it very, very quickly right there, saying how weak it is. But look at this move here. Now, this move interests me because it's been quite sustained. It's probed right down here. You can see this in the middle of the night. It's kind of pushed it back down, but it stayed green. Even this is telling me that the market can push up, because a little tail, so all the pressure seems that way, then green and green. All right, so that's kind of a nice thing to look at. Let's pull out a Bollinger, and again you can see it's rejecting this strong level. This is a monthly level, so it's pushed out of the Bolly, it's moved back into the Bolly, and it's steadily looking. So there's a high probability this can try and test this level here. Okay, certainly the middle, which it's working to now. I've got to remember these are hourly charts, so if I zoom this out, which I will in a second, let's drop an RSI on, and it's also coming off the bottom of the RSI and curling up. So these are all indicators that there's going to be a push up It may well go on its journey south, but we're looking at the here and now. And if you look at the overall journey, it is south, okay? But that there is a push out of the bolly on a high time frame and coming off the bottom. So this has to give. Got to relieve a bit of the pressure. So I think in the short term, this is going to probably retest this level here. You know, so there's a good 20, 30 pips maybe. You know, go out to a daily, let's have a look. And as you can see from the daily, you had that strong move up and it's now moving back down. Okay. And again, it's pushed out the bolly. So that's telling me it's going to possibly move up again. All right, so we'll take this down onto a 15. And yeah, there you are. It's now broke the 20 on the 15, which is a good indicator to there. It's a good contender. All right, so I'll be keeping an eye on that today. I'll just get this up. So let's have a little look at this. This is the pound Aussie. Now the pound Aussie is something I'm keeping an eye on as a swing trade, funny enough. I'll show you for why. If I pull it out to a weekly, because of that bad boy there. I am looking to be long on this and hold it for quite some time. All right, just because of that. Okay, and if we move it down, once it breaks this here, this level, and it's still got some way to go, I think it's going to shoot. So in the meantime, I'm waiting for it to get over here to move to there, and then carry on. In the short term, there could be a retracement. Sort of if you're day trading, this is that overview was for a couple of weeks move. But again, you can see the drive up. It's been quite sustained. It's changing its sentiment based on this level, which is why I want to see it break the level. That candle formation here is telling you it's going down. So the chances are it's going to retest, which means it'll try and brush the tops of these candles here. So you've got a good 20, 30 pips. There you are. It's starting to show signs of that right now. It may even get down to here and then carry on. All right. So dead simple. And if I pop a bolly on, it's a fair, yeah, there you are. It's overstretched. So it's a fair bet that's going to push down. Stick an RSI on. And again, it's curling down. So it's a short-term retracement, pushing down over. That is the general idea, but the overall trend of this is going to be long. Now this is a good one. The Aussie dollar. Go out to a daily. This has had some merry old timer things. The trend is basically up, or it has been over the days. You can see that there. It's not a strong trend. It's just kind of meandering up. Fell off the cliff. It's pushed all down. It's been selling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Take that down to here. And what it's done is it's finding support here. It's pushed out the bolly. And it looks like it could be primed for a retrace up to here. This is complemented by this. So a brush of the bottom of here is highly possible. Take it down onto an hourly. And there you are, you can see the signs of that. So if it comes up to try and touch this, the blue line's a 20 moving average, by the way. It's kind of lining up with the bottom of the candle. So that getting to there is not out of the ordinary. And again, USJPY, Similar kind of story in reverse. It's had a strong push up, hasn't really looked back, so something has to give. You are coming off overbought. It's bouncing off a key level. This is a daily. It's pushed up to it twice. It's rejected, and for all this is green, the tail at the top tells me it's coming down. It's already kind of in the middle, and it doesn't have far to go to this level. So it's going to have some kind of resistance here. It's going to have some energy to push through it because that's a weekly. But because there's only a little bit of room to work in, for all I do believe this is going to come down, there's not enough to take the trade. So we'll get rid of that. And then we'll look at this one. Okay. Take it out to your daily. Let's have a look. You can see it's a nice uptrend. It is revisiting overbought yet again. So the steam is going to run out of this before long. And you can see that because when it pushed up, it didn't really look back. It just whooped and away. But now it's stalling quite a bit. So the steam might be running out. There could be a final push on this upwards. Looking at that, you can kind of see it's broke through, probing up. So what I'd like to kind of see with this one, if I drop this onto an hour, I'd like to see that get up around here and then roll over. It's going to push. It's certainly going to try and see this again. It's tried so many times. It's rattled this level. And funny enough, this is something I said the other day. The textbook says the more touches of a level, the stronger that level is. And they're right, as long as it's spaced out. So one here, one there, one over there, one further back. But if it's hammering at it all the time, so it's gone there, 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 all the way through, it's slamming at it all the time. The level is not repelling it. So eventually that level will break, which it has done here. Okay. So just be careful when you see these. Just because it's had lots of touches like that doesn't mean to say that it's rock solid. In fact, it's getting weaker. You know, the more hits it has in the same area, it'll be weaker. All right. But if it touched here, here, and here, then you can think, well, that's a strong level because each time it's come up once, it's really thrown the market away from it. But if the market stays at it, it's a high probability it's going to get through. So I kind of keep an eye on this one as well. Not really. So there's nothing exciting, but there is some meat on the bones on these markets. So we shall have a look, and we'll get through it. So there we go. Quick 5 minutes overview. It's mainly the pound and the Aussie that I'm keeping an eye on today. They seem to be the best candidates. It's all basically about the moves, to be honest. See, you're looking for a move like that, which is your first clue. Then you're looking at the levels to see how they're reacting to the level. Put on a Bollinger Band. Doesn't matter what indicators you use, guys, as long as you're comfortable with them. I like a Bollinger because it's a visual representation of what's going on. Because it has a moving average in it, which is a 20. So I can see how the price is reacting to a moving average. It's just standard setting, 2 deviations either side of it. And it can show me whether or not it's stretched. Because once it's pushing out, it's like a rubber band. It'll want to shoot back, or it will come back. Which is why when you see it push out, it often comes back to the mean or the center. Likewise here, even there, for all its little moves. It's pushed out, pushed out, pushed out, but then boom, comes down. Pushed out, pushed out, pushed out. Really pushed out, boom, down it comes. It happens quite regular, but it's not something to use on its own. It just gives you eye shots. I'm a very, very visual trader, and I trade what I see. So that's why I like a Bollinger Band, because it kind of puts it in front of me. All right. So there we go. I'll come back to you later on today, and we'll see how we get on. All right. But best of luck, guys. But these are kind of the markets I'll be looking at today. All right.